We're rolling. Sound. All right, so here we are, 20 weeks out from first comp of 2022. Haven't competed since 2020, so just want to sort of give a breakdown of what's happened since then, where I've come from then to now, and hopefully gained a load of new muscle in the process. So off the back of competing in 2020, did like the reverse diet for a bit. I was with Josh McHale still then, and then Jordan Peters had some slots become available for coaching, so thought I'd give that a go, training with him. So pretty much with Josh McHale before, it was the similar sort of approaches, top set, back offset stuff with the training. So went with Jordan, it was much of the same, just all out brutality. This was when COVID was happening. We were in a unofficial bubble together, so probably doing what we shouldn't have done, but we weren't socialising with other people, and we were training then, and it was fucking brutal, wasn't it? It was just horrible. So you got your 5-day rotation. We were doing deficit deadlifts, deficit stiff leg deadlifts, squatting on the 2 rotations as well, 1 pause back squat, 1 normal back squat, just buried in the ground, but that's what Jordan said to do, so I did it. But I was absolutely wrecked at the same time. Like,
I think we need like a deload like every 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I'm explaining all this because the training approach is very different now. But at the time, and even still now, like a lot of people, it's all about sort of the top set, back offset, which it holds its merit. It's definitely good for piling on a load of strength and definitely putting some size on. But I think once you get to a certain point of taking sets to true failure, you're just going to leave yourself buried all the time. Like, so if you're somebody that's like new to training, you're not really physically or mentally reached those points of true failure. So it's good to learn how to train hard, basically. But once you actually can train hard, you will leave yourself fatigued all the time. You either have to be genetically superior in terms of recovery capabilities or on a shitload of gear to be able to support the recovery of that sort of training. But anyway, I was with Jordan for about 4 months. It's pretty good, just brutality and everything. Like, food pushed up to 6,000 calories. Training was just absolute savagery, like I was saying, just buried all the time. My sleep went a bit to shit. A few things went to shit, and it wasn't until I went back with McHale because he changed to Joe Jeffries. So we're pretty much doing then and now since after sort of start, when it would it have been into 2021?
Yeah.
Third of the way through 2021?
About a third of the way through.
Yeah, started back with McHale, and Josh is with McHale as well. So we're pretty much on the same program, doing the same approaches. And it's very much Joe Jeffries' approach to training, nutrition, training blocks, scaling up sort of the reps in reserve, like starting a new block from 3 reps in reserve on the first week, then 2, then 1, then 0. And I found that to be a much better approach for me personally, when you're not running a lot of like assistance in terms of drugs and stuff. It's a way better way to actually manage stress and fatigue. So we've been doing that for a while ever since, and I've made way better gains. So it's crazy. Actually, like holding back a bit has helped me to go forward rather than just burying myself all the time. It just seems like when I take a bit of a rest, 5 days off, and then come back on this system of 3 reps, 2 reps, 1 rep, 0, it's like the stress is slowly tapered up, and the adaptation can keep up with it. But when you're doing a top set, back off set, you take 3-5 days off, you come back in and just go balls to the wall, kill yourself. It's like stress goes bang straight up, adaptation can't keep up. So your stress stays elevated, your stress there, and adaptation is just like, I'll try and keep up for a bit, and then like Josh says, after about 2 weeks you're fucked. So it's like adaptation going off and stress just stays up. This approach, stress slowly tapered up throughout the weeks, adaptation follows, and then when you get to that 0, I found that I can run the 0 for a lot longer. So I ran like my last decent push-up block for about 11, 12 weeks. So that was 3, 2, 1, 0, 0 for like 7 weeks. And I was fine. I didn't take any spots, any forced reps, because I'd find that would just send me over the edge as well, in terms of fatiguing me. So just altogether found it's a better approach and a bit more of a moderate approach with food, not just ramming so much. The peak I've got to is 5,500 calories, and I've maintained that for the last sort of like 3-4 months. I just feel like if you're hitting X amount of food and you're still making a bit of a body weight gain each week, then there's no point in pushing it more for the sake of it, because you're making that gain each week. Why stress your digestive system even more? So, but before with Jordan, this is not knocking Jordan in any way, like it works for some people, it's all out, bombard you with everything, and if you can keep up, you'll gain from it. But for some people like myself, digestion got stressed, sleep got affected, I couldn't recover from it. But this approach I can recover from, and I've made better gains. So when I started prep in 2020 for those shows, I started at 110 kg. I'm now 122 with arguably the same, if not better, conditioning. So in a wicked spot to start. So yeah, really happy with these approaches. Going to keep running these approaches. Less big ass compounds as well, which were burying me into the ground and didn't really see a lot of return from them. And I'll do anything, like I'll literally kill myself. If somebody said, how you're going to gain is by coming in every day and deadlifting, squatting and benching 7 days a week, we'd do it. But that doesn't work, does it?
We've done it.
Yeah.
We did it.
We've done it, and it doesn't work. Like, so I think
as well, when you were sort of getting as strong as you were, and the weights that you were having to move with that top set and back off set, they were like,
we were
were
talking a stiff leg deficit deadlift with like 220 kg, weren't we, for like 6-8 reps. Then the back off for 200 kg to like full failure.
Yeah,
and I say full failure like that because it's perceived differently by people, but I think when you get there, you'll realise that you can't keep it up.
Barbell squatting 200 kilo every single week.
Yeah.
200 kilo plus.
Yeah.
In the same week, you've just pulled 220 from the floor and.
Yeah. So just all out brutal. But we feel like we're on a better path now, able to recover from it and just physically gaining better. So 20 weeks out, we're about to train today, do a pull session. I'll show the changes that have been made in terms of nutrition, training, cardio, steps, and just give you as much information on that so you can understand what happens on the process of coming from 20 weeks out to show day. And then when we go through this session now, I will try and give as much information on how we're executing things and why we're doing certain things certain ways, just to help you out really. So let's go and get it done. I'll just explain what's going on here. Bit of foam rolling quick, just to straighten out anything that's feeling a bit tight. It's something I religiously do before every training session. It doesn't matter what I'm training, I'll always foam roll my back, always crack my back, get it feeling loose. Even if it's for something like push or chest or shoulders, tight, restricted back, it limits sort of your session when you're pushing. But we're doing pull today, so obviously I'll do my back for that. And then, like I say, anything that's feeling tight or a bit off, even if my glutes felt a bit tight, we're doing stiff leg deadlifts today, a big contributor to that movement. So don't want anything feeling off in any way. So if it does, this is the opportunity to address it. 5-10 minutes foam rolling, a little bit of active stretching, nothing too fatiguing before we train, but just to get yourself set up and ready to hit the session. Now you got to get them hips right. Oh, you got to get the hips right for that big lift. First exercise before stiff leg deadlifts, lying hamstring curl. So we're not really using this as a working exercise. It's more just to warm up the hamstrings, put some blood in there, injury prevention, bit of activation work if you want to call it that. Basically just get them a little bit warm. I'll do 3-4 sets, and the last set will be moderately hard, 3 reps in reserve, but I don't actually want to fatigue the hamstrings when I'm doing this. I just want to get them warm. If we did a working set, it could possibly take away from the stiff leg deadlift. So moved quite quickly in the first 2 sets. I feel fucked now. Fucking hell, I need 10 minutes. Ooh. Right, so that was a little bit of reps in reserve. Like I say, I don't want to get fatigued on that. I just want to use it to get the hamstrings warm, but rep speed and everything, as with pretty much everything else, this will never change. Sort of 1 count explosive when you're fighting against the weight, and then controlled down, 2-3 count. If you're just dropping that weight, you're losing a lot of value there. There's a lot of stimulation to be had out of controlling that weight down. You need to think you're fighting gravity. It's not you go up and then that's rep finished. The whole rep is up and down, no matter what exercise we're doing. This is garage, but that's what I would call it as well, the other stuff. But how many more have you got on this? You got many more? 1 more? Sorry, perfect. Yeah, I'll show you how to do it. Real men don't use this. No man, what is that? Good? Yeah.
In your own?
Huh? No, McHale, Josh McHale. He's really good, man. He's really good. He's coached by Joe Jeffrey, so it's just all Joe Jeffrey. Getting the angry music on. Oh motherfucker, I'm feeling good today. I haven't felt properly good in a long time, but I'm feeling fucking good. Yeah. Oh. If we're coming in and doing a smaller movement, it's typically not going to need as many warm-up sets. But to get primed, get ready, get warm, injury prevention again, want to take our time a bit with this. So we've gone 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plate, 4 plate. I'm going to try to get to 220, so the jump next might be another 10 or 15, and then the 220, and I'll gauge it on how I'm feeling, whether I'm going to do a 1 repper on 220, or whether I'm just going to go straight into it It's a pretty intuitive thing, but more often than not, I would say do a rep on your top set to get a feel for it, to get primed for it. So neurologically, your body's firing. It knows the feeling to handle that weight. So it's not a shock to you when you pull that new weight if you've not done a rep before. So a few things we've got here. So chalked up the hands, obviously super grippy. We're not losing any energy there. We're locked into the bar. 8 straps. So your normal straps that you like wrap around and roll up, it can be precarious getting into it. It can take time to roll them up. They can come undone while you're doing it. These are so good. You'll see on the sets that I've been doing, I just loop them round and rip the bar. And the whole set, I'm rolling then, like there's no issues. We'll get some sniffing salts on the go when we're going like the top set, just to aid us to go a bit further. And yeah, that's everything. So let's just work to the top set weight now and fucking kill it. Okay, I know how I'm feeling now. I need to do a 1 repper on this to get a feel for it. Sometimes I'll feel like perfect, everything will just be firing. I'll be like, fuck it, I know I can go straight into this. Especially if I've done like 4 20s and a 15 aside, but the 4 20s and the 10, it's a big jump now. So I don't want it to catch me by surprise when I just jump into the set. So I want to do 1 repper to get a feel for it, take a little break and then revisit it and fucking destroy it. Oh. Yes! Fucking yes. Ah. Yeah. Fucking pussies. Oh. Oh. One more. Oh. Ah. Fuck you.
Come on.
Yeah! I couldn't fucking see, I was like, man, my eyes weren't that much, I can't fucking see anything. Oh, so that was a little bit of reps in reserve. I'm probably supposed to do more because I've started like a new block, but I got carried away. So that's probably like 1-2 reps in reserve. And another pet peeve with this. Everyone seems to be doing stiff leg deadlifts at the moment, and they're not stiff leg deadlifts. They're like an in-between They're a deadlift hybrid with a stiff leg deadlift. If you're doing a stiff leg deadlift, you'll have like hardly any knee flexion at all. Your hips will be high. But everyone's doing this hybrid thing so they can claim they're doing big numbers on the stiff leg deadlift. If you're trying to target a certain thing with a stiff leg deadlift, then target that, fuck the numbers. If you want to deadlift and lift big weight, do your deadlift. But don't do a stiff leg deadlift and claim it's something it's not. That look good?
Yeah, it's fucking perfect. How many did you get?
8. I'll keep it like 1, 2. Okay, so we just finished the stiff leg deadlift. Now we'll come on to a lat pull down with a twist with the bench set up. The plates are on the bench because when you start using enough weight on the stack and you are heavy enough, the bench will actually start getting pulled on every rep and like jud at every rep. So obviously with bodybuilding, any exercise, we want to create like stability. We don't want any loss of energy, any loss of rhythm. So all of that is to create the most stable exercise. So we can just focus on what we're doing, having no distractions, and just keep pulling all the way to failure. So we've got an equipment change, your standard straps that everybody knows about. These are leather ones. They're just a lot grippier than your normal sort of nylon, I think it's nylon material or whatever. Again, obviously if it's grippier, less distraction if your grips go in or anything, and the material's slightly thinner, so it doesn't bulk out what you're gripping onto and make it harder to grip. So good little addition there if you get some leather straps in. How many working sets are you doing on this?
How many big man benders? How many doing?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. All the way back. Little notches to get it back. Go on, yeah. Go. Come on. Nice. I'm gonna grab like some blocks. Okay, so the blocks, you're gonna see how these are coming into action in a second, but basically it's just put underneath the stopper of the weights to bring that handle closer up, because if you don't, on the back pad, the handle's too far away, so then you're having to overextend, do your straps up, and it's just distracting you from it's taking energy away from the set. So if you can strap up and be there, and then you go and the drops just drop out, you're gonna have a much better set, basically. So it's just not losing energy where we don't need to lose energy to give it to the exercise we're trying to do. Straight into working on this. Yeah. Come on then. Come on then. No. Where you going? Huh? You do 3. You want to whack the foam in? So it might seem a bit like over the top, like why do we need to put those foam blocks in? But bodybuilding is about every little percentage gain you can make. So if we can start that set without the distraction of having to overreach, then we could possibly get another rep, and everything's about squeezing out that extra rep. So all these tiny little things, they add up to make a monumental difference. Like all the little things we've gone through the start, chalk, different straps, these blocks, everything adds up. Yes, come on, man. All the way. Come on, man. Come on. It's good shit, man. As I see, rear delt. Oh, you bastard. Okay, so rear delts. You'll see as I'm doing rear delts, I'm supporting myself with the arm that's not working. So again, like every other exercise, trying to create as much stability as possible. No loss of energy. So just take note of that. Like if you don't put the hand anywhere, then you're sort of a bit looser. So we want to get tight, we want to get solid, and put all the work through that side that we're trying to exercise. Mate, that came in my viewpoint and I was like, what the fuck is that?
Get out of my fucking face!
Yeah. Okay, this is going to look weird as hell for some people. This is like it's an alternative to standing single arm cable curl, but when I do standing, some of you might get this as well, it sort of like pulls me to one side and it feels a bit funky on my back. It's not terrible, but it doesn't feel amazing, so this mitigates that, and it just adds an element of stability again, somewhere you're not losing energy by standing, where you can move around. So you're sat, so from your arse upwards, you're not losing any energy at all, you're locked in and you're there. So it's a bit of a weird one, but if you can get into a good position and get a feel for it, I think it gives you that little percentage gain on this exercise. And a little bit of posing there. Right, so we did rear delts, biceps, quick bit of abs, and we have a little pose. So this is peak off season, the fattest and the worst I'll look. So hopefully as the weeks go on, you should see this getting better, but I'm just gonna do this every week. And normally after I train anyway, even in the off season, when you're not competing, always do full round of posing at the end. A lot of guys will just do the poses that they enjoy the most or look the best in, but ultimately if you want to get better at posing, you've just got to keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing. So I'll do, like I say, even in the off season, a full round of posing at least once a week after a training session. I'm gonna set my tripod up for this shit quick. So you were just saying, oh, I bet you're knackered doing that posing, weren't you? But I was just saying, like I said before, in terms of practicing year round, even at this weight, like 122 kg, I feel good posing. Just doing that round just then, I wasn't knackered at all. it's like isometric exercise. You're doing an isometric hold, and I've sort of got a level of conditioning now. So even at this heavier weight, practicing it year round, obviously it's good. So your presentation's good when you're on stage, but also so your endurance is good. If they're running you through like harder rounds of posing and doing comparisons on stage, you don't want to be that guy that's not practiced year round. You get to it and you're fucked when it comes to posing. Because when you're dieting, it only gets harder to practice posing, doesn't it? Because you're wrecked, you're eating nothing, you're doing so much output.
It's another expenditure, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
hard
it's
work.
thing,
Like you don't want to be doing it. You're in pain while you're doing it. So get that conditioning and get used to it while you got more energy, while you're eating more food. So yeah, that's the posing, and that was a good session. That was a really good session.
Solid,
so
man.
like that stiff leg deadlift I've been deadlifting for years and years and years, but for the last 15 months, it's been just more of that. Every week it's been, well, when we were doing the JP stuff, deficit, stiff leg deadlift and deficit deadlift. Then it went to RDL for a little bit, and then stiff leg deadlift from the floor. But whatever it was, every week, most weeks, apart from the odd rest here and there, we're fucking pulling shit from the floor. And you can see that in physiques. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, some people with like fatigue management try and suggest that, oh, you don't need to do so much deadlifting, or you don't need to pull from the floor. You can pick different exercises to isolate, but nothing's going to hit that posterior chain like just big compound pulling some weight. It visually makes you look different. Like Josh, before we started training together, like during the lockdown, you did fuck all deadlifting.
I'd never deadlifted. 10 years of training, never deadlifted.
Never deadlifted, and you had a physique. You had a shallow, like rear shot, didn't you?
Yeah, very
like,
shallow. Yeah,
so shallow. It's like it just
had detail.
yeah, no depth there at all. Like it's adding dense muscle thickness and depth to your physique. So since you started deadlifting, you started on what, like 120 or something?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Could barely deadlift 120. Now you can pull what, like for a conventional deadlift, like 210, 220?
I think about 210, 220. Yeah.
220.
Yeah.
And if you go on Josh's page, you can see some of the comparisons he's put up from like a year and a half, and it's just night and day. It's like added a totally different look to his physique. So you can see the guys that aren't pulling some heavy shit, like their physique will just like look so shallow on stage, like next to somebody. They might look good on the gram on their own when they've got the lighting and they put their filters on and they pose in the right way, but who gives a fuck about that? Because when you get on stage, you're getting blown the fuck away. Like whoever's out there and you've not been deadlifting, I'm going to destroy you from the rear shots. I am, because it does everything. It does your hamstrings. I wish it did your calves, but it doesn't really do a lot for your calves. But it does your hamstrings, it does your glutes, it does your fucking lower back, your spinal erectors, and it just generally thickens up like the whole upper back, lower back, upper back traps. It thickens everything the fuck up. So you've seen what we've done today. You've seen I've been practicing that for years, and it's not just like happened overnight.
That shows, man. It shows.
A lot of people can't pull weight like that with that form because they're not legit strong. They're not legit strong in those positions, and executing the movement like that. That's why everybody's doing this fucked up hybrid stiff leg deadlift stuff. Just pick one or the other, what you want to do. But yeah, and then you saw everything else. Moved pretty slow into that stiff leg deadlift, need more rest generally. Then we move a bit quicker. Want to keep the body warmth there, want to keep the intensity there. If you slow down and your heart rate starts dropping, your body temperature starts dropping, you lose that element of intensity, which I think is very important. So yeah, moved through some back exercises, rear delt, bicep, bit of posing at the end, and that's what we're looking like 20 weeks out. Comment on the video, let us know like what you want to see us train next time, any other information you want to be included in the videos. But for today, that's job done.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe.